So while I'm in the middle of putting my Mother's Day special for the rest of the month together, I come across this story. A story that really could have been prevented if only somebody in that household cared enough. I went on her page, the Facebook page of Arhonda Tillman, 35 years old. You know the games on Facebook that you can play, the virtual games where they predict your future? Well, Tillman, she played several times. Each time it predicted that she was going to have a baby girl. She seemed to be very happy with that. Also, on her Facebook page, she has the default picture of a baby girl, I believe in the year of 2018, a picture of a little girl. Very cute little girl like that. So why is she top news in Florida? For the starvation of her almost 3-year-old little girl. Along with the 2-year-old's little girl's father. His name was Regis Johnson. He is 57 years old. They are stating that this 2-year-old, almost 3 again, she died from long-term starvation. At her last doctor's appointment, which was January 2020, to May 10th, 2022, the baby girl had only gained 1 ounce. She should have been 32 pounds by then. She was not thriving as children between 2 and 3 years old would be. This little girl couldn't stand. She couldn't talk. She couldn't walk. She couldn't do anything. The medical examiner found 0 food in her stomach. Maybe she couldn't do all the things that kids between 2 and 3 was doing because she was hungry. Maybe she had no energy. She was literally starving to death. You know, at this child's birth, she was 9.5 pounds. So within almost 3 years, she actually lost 5 ounces, then gain. I also read this couple, the parents of this poor 2-year-old girl, they had a family service charge on them, the Department of Family Service. They had a charge on them and they handled it, meaning that they got the baby back up to her proper weight. I think they had 2 or 3, and each time the baby was brought up to her proper weight. But then she would plummet back down. Were they only feeding this child just to reach the weight requirement and so that they wouldn't get in trouble that day? I mean, what was wrong with feeding this little girl 3 times daily? Making sure she ate daily. What was wrong with that? I'm pretty sure they were eating daily. I mean, 1 ounce. That's all this little girl had gained during her last doctor's appointment. 1 ounce. So now they are in jail. $500,000 bail each. The uncle of this little girl that passed away, he is the brother of Regis Johnson. His name is Frank Johnson. He was arrested on failure to report the charges. Either he lived with them, he had to live with them in order for him to be arrested as well. He had to know what was going on, and to see this little baby starving. Have you ever seen, and you don't want to, have you ever seen a baby who is starving to death? They're literally skin and bones. Their bones are protruding through their flesh. It's horrible. A lot of times when I go looking for certain topics, they'll show these babies. I'll see these pictures and it's the saddest thing ever. Especially when there's food available for the baby, but nobody wants to feed the baby. And again, there are safe havens. Without getting in trouble, you could bring the baby to police stations. Of course, if you don't have any warrants, but you could even bring the baby to the fire department, hospitals, and you can just say, I am the legal guardian of this child. I don't want it no more. They're not supposed to even ask you any questions other than medically. Is there something they should know medically about the child? But if you don't want your children, you actually don't have to keep them. You don't have to kill them. You don't have to starve them slowly. You don't have to beat them to death. There's so many things you could do if nobody suitable in your family wants to take the child off your hands. It's so many other options. The same place that comes to check on the children, the Department of Family Services, you could even contact them and tell them you want to relinquish the custody of your child. That's all you have to do. And you could just be free again. It's really that simple. So when people do not take those steps to rid themselves of the stress that is their children, I just think that they're evil. They're horrible, horrible people. Because other than some people receiving certain benefits for these children, why wouldn't you do this if you really don't want the child? Let this child grow. Let somebody else raise this child. Because you know you really don't want to.